Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. 26 tests positive for COVID-19 in Grenada. This story takes the lead in our 1007th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday 15th, 2020. Details when we return. Welcome back. The following is a statement posted on the Facebook page of the Ministry of Health in Grenada in relation to a cluster of COVID-19 positive patients. Quote, the Ministry of Health informs that a cluster of 26 positive COVID-19 cases has been diagnosed originating from the Sandals Resort. The positive cases include guests and employees, as well as their contacts. The discovery was made following proactive testing of employees and guests on Friday and Saturday as part of the Ministry's continuous testing of frontline staff in sectors directly related to tourism, travel and health. Given the health emergency that this situation warrants, the Government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Health, has deployed all efforts, including personnel and resources, to address this grave threat to public health, safety and order, and the maintenance of medical and other supplies and services essential to life in Grenada. Unprecedented, aggressive efforts have been taken to further contain this outbreak of COVID-19. The Sandals Resort has now been deemed to be a place of screening and assessment. Entire households related to the confirmed cases have also been quarantined, and contact tracers are actively working to source other potentially exposed people in other areas of public life and activity. This is a rapidly evolving situation, and health officials will continue to update the public as circumstances warrant. In the coming hours and days, the Ministry anticipates a further tightening of measures related to activities and daily life in order to protect public health and safety. The Ministry has been consistent in urging the public to maintain vigilance in daily life, as a virus outbreak was always probable here in Grenada, just as elsewhere around the region and the world. Nevertheless, throughout this pandemic, there has never been a greater need for public cooperation than now. The Ministry is again calling on all citizens and visitors to join the effort in observing the health and safety protocols, including the exercising of enhanced caution in daily activities, especially when using public transportation and in participating in social activities. The Ministry of Health cannot stress enough the magnitude of the problem that Grenada is currently confronting. This is about public health and safety, and we urge the public to be extremely careful and to do their part in helping to curb this outbreak. In consideration of the recent grave situation that we face, the Government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Health, must ask that members of the public limit all social gatherings. The Chief Medical Officer has also advised that permission previously granted to organizers for upcoming social events are under review. The government's first responsibility is to protect the lives of our people, and we are resolute in taking all necessary steps to do so. Everyone is reminded to adhere to the guidelines and mandates by wearing masks that cover the nose and mouth when in public spaces, practicing good hygiene and maintaining physical distancing of at least 6 feet from others. This outbreak can be contained if we all work together." Unquote. In other news, members of the protective services in Trinidad and Tobago were among a few dozen people held at a Zessa party in the early hours of Sunday morning. The 40-plus people are to appear before a magistrate. Renessa Cutting of TV6 News reports.
One police constable and 3 members of the defense force are among 44 persons who were arrested early this morning when officers busted a Zessa party in East Trinidad. Acting on a tip-off, a party of officers coordinated by Acting Inspector Ward responded to a report of a Zessa party in progress at Cordio Crescent, La Hocata around 3:30 a.m. On arrival, they reported hearing loud music and observed a crowd well in excess of that stipulated by the public health regulations. Several persons are then said to have fled the scene. The officers were able to contain 44 persons, among them the police constable and 3 members of the defense force. The 44 were arrested and taken to the La Hocata police station, where inquiries are continuing. The TTPS says they will be charged via summons and appear before an Arima Magistrates Court on a date to be fixed by the magistrate. This comes on the heels of the health minister's announcement on Saturday that 3 birthday parties had led to at least 11 COVID-19 cases and 1 COVID-related death. Minister Dialsingh made a personal appeal to the public to act responsibly this holiday season.
Whether you are tempted to party down the islands, in Tobago, in a warehouse in Caroni, in a wedding in Valsine, these big gatherings for the next 2 weeks, we are asking people, for the sake of our children and our elderly, please, just do the right thing.
Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Senate President Christine Kangaloo reserves a decision on a matter of privilege brought against one opposition senator. She's forced to caution another over an alleged Facebook post. Urvashi Tawari Rupnarayan of TV6 News reports.
From the upper house comes a request that UNC Senator Anil Roberts be cautioned after he allegedly did this.
Posted on Facebook a video clip with subtext, Senate President, apparent bias that reflects negatively on you in the discharge of your duties as presiding officer.
Senator Khan calls it unparliamentary, an attack on the office, and something which brings the upper house into disrepute.
As members of the Senate, we have the responsibility by our conduct and our utterances to uphold the standing orders and the high traditions of this House. Therefore, I beg that the member be cautioned on the post to which I referred, and that he be strongly encouraged to reflect and desist.
Senator Roberts himself rose to dispute the post that we couldn't find on his Facebook page.
Yes, ma'am, I'm not sure what Senator Franklin can have not posted.
According to the Senate President, it's not about her, but about the integrity of the chamber.
A reflection on the partiality of the presiding officer is a contempt in and of itself. But I am going at this stage, all I am doing is giving a warning and urging members to uphold the dignity of this chamber. This is the upper house. There's a certain type of behavior that is expected from members of the upper house. And that is all I am going to see at this stage.
Senate President Christine Kangaloo asked the leader of opposition business, Senator Wade Mark, to influence the behavior of Senator Roberts. Meanwhile, President Kangaloo reserved her decision on the matter of privilege brought against opposition Senator Jillian John for her comments on independent Senator Dr. Maria Dillon Remy, who voted with government for the public procurement bill. Urvashi Tawari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
Over in Guyana, the appointment of Onij Waldron as Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce and oath as a parliamentarian were unconstitutional since she had still been an American citizen at that time. This was admitted by Attorney General Anil Nandlal on Thursday at the High Court. During the case brought to the court by opposition parliamentarian Christopher Jones, challenging the constitutionality of Waldron's appointment, the Attorney General stated that there was a recognition that the appointment was not done in accordance with Guyana's constitution. According to the Certificate of Loss of Nationality of the United States of America, USA, Waldron took an oath of renunciation on September 4th, 2020, and the Certificate of Loss of Nationality was approved on September 8th. Waldron had said that she had renounced her citizenship on August 18th, 2020, with immediate effect, and that she took the oath as a parliamentarian on September 1st this year after she had renounced her U.S. citizenship. The Attorney General noted that Waldron had since taken an oath of office as Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce from December 1st, 2020. The opposition parliamentarian Jones had wanted the High Court to find that Waldron's appointment was unconstitutional because she had still been an American citizen at the time she had taken the oaths as a government minister and a member of the National Assembly. As such, Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire declared that Waldron is not a lawful member of the National Assembly and was not lawfully appointed as minister before December 1st, 2020. When the National Assembly meets again, Waldron is expected to be sworn in again as a People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC Member of Parliament. Meanwhile, Jones's lawyer, senior counsel Roysdale Ford, argued that there has been an award of costs since the Attorney General did not notify him overnight or informed him that he, Nandlal, would have been conceding in the case. Ford noted that we had been rebuffed and publicly humiliated, and the Chief Justice awarded costs in the sum of Ghanai's $75,000. And now for Jamaica Roundup with Anthony Lugg of TVJ News.
Norman Horn has advised the Governor General of his intention to resign from the Senate. In a statement, Mr. Horn says he has requested that the necessary steps be initiated to rescind his appointment. He says the decision was made after lengthy discussions with family and close friends. On the matter of his U.S. citizenship, Mr. Horn says this can be a lengthy process, further complicated by COVID-19 protocols. He says, as occurred with a former PNP senator in 2012, it is common practice that the renunciation process is completed following the appointment to the Senate. He adds that after the announcement that there would be an election for a new party leader, he decided not to further pursue renunciation. He admitted that despite not having taken an oath, he was remiss in not delivering his resignation to the Governor General in keeping with his statement. In the meantime, speaking on Radio Jamaica's call-in program Hotline, Mr. Horn said his letter indicating his intention to resign was delivered to the Governor General's office today.
Today to the Governor General's office.
Why was it only just delivered after your promise in an October 10 letter to deliver it by the 6th of November 2020?
Emily, that's an interesting place to start, but I guess the matter goes back before that. It goes back to the 14th of September, when the then opposition leader advised me to prepare myself for the appointment of senator.
The U.S. State Department has announced sanctions against 6 former members of the now disbanded Crime Management Unit, as well as their immediate family members. According to a statement yesterday from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the 6 Jamaicans were among 17 individuals from various countries who have been sanctioned. More from Janella Precious.
The State Department announced the public designation of Devon Bernard, Renito Adams, Patrick Koch, Shane Lyons, Leaford Gordon, and Roderick Collier. The immediate family members are also covered by the designation. Individuals and the immediate family members who are designated publicly or privately are ineligible for entry into the United States. Renito Adams was appointed to lead the Crime Management Unit in 2000. The unit was placed in the spotlight following the controversial killing of 4 persons in Crawle, Clarendon on Tuesday, May 7, 2003. 45-year-old Angela Richards, 38-year-old Ferris Luena Thompson, Matthew James, and a man known only as Renegade were killed during an alleged shootout with members of the Crime Management Unit. After several weeks of investigations in the aftermath of the killings, Mr. Adams and 5 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force were charged with murder. They were, however, acquitted in December 2005.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.